Just this is going to be my Thanksgiving segment. That's what this is. This is my Thanksgiving segment. So, coronavirus, COVID-19, the COVID-19 pandemic. So I saw this on Twitter. I retweeted this, whatever. So this is like a flight tracker image, and this is just what I want to have this image up while I do my segment here. That's it. I'm not going to be talking about any scientific study here. This is the Thanksgiving week flight, this is from 2 days ago or something. Like, just think about this, man. Okay. I'm sorry. I know. A lot of people, they live in the fantasy world that I wish I lived in. But, I'd love to remind everybody that we are in the middle of a pandemic. I covered on my show, if you want to go back and watch I did a Thanksgiving segment like 2 or 3 days ago. And I used more like statistics and data in that segment. So I'm going to be referencing a little bit of that. But if you want to go back and watch that, if you haven't. One of the foundational metrics that we use in the medical system when we build hospitals as a civilization and society, one of the main metrics that we use for building hospitals and deciding how many rooms are there, deciding how many beds are there, one of the main metrics and criteria is flu season. Now, what is flu season? Well, flu is a shorthand for influenza. It is a series of viruses that mutate rapidly. You might get a flu shot every year, whatever. But we base our hospital structures and systems around knowing that certain times of the year, there's going to be increased sickness and increased death. We know that. It's predictable. We can predict this. Now, why is it? What is flu season? Now, again, I'm talking about before COVID-19. I'm talking about before the pandemic, right? Americans have always been like this. The idea that the COVID-19 pandemic would be a surprise to anybody on how America and Americans have handled this, it would be shocking if anyone was actually surprised about the depravity of human beings. But anyway, about 40,000 people a year die of the flu. So what is flu season? Flu season is a combination of things. The cold weather allows the influenza virus to spread more easily. It allows it to, stay in the air longer. It allows it to, duplicate faster, etc. So that's the cold weather. Now, again, not every state in the United States and not every country in the world has cold weather. So again, there's multiple factors here that go into flu season. Why are flu rates going up in Arizona? If it's not that cold in Arizona, right? But that's just one thing. In the wintertime, especially in colder areas and colder states, a lot of people are more likely to go inside. A lot of people are likely to be packed in like sardines inside of poorly ventilated buildings. Again, so we have an influenza virus that is more able to spread in the cold. Now, again, a lot of buildings have heat, but, again, it's more able to spread, and then you pack people in indoor, windows closed, poorly ventilated areas, and that causes a massive spread. But another factor that causes a massive amounts of death in this country is the holidays. Now, again, I say this as someone that does not like the holidays. I don't like the holidays. I think Thanksgiving is garbage. I think Christmas is garbage. I think all of this whole holiday season, quote unquote, is trash. I think people that celebrate it don't actually like celebrating it. They just do it because they want to make some random dumb fuck in their family happy. And it's just a sad state of affairs. Now, again, influenza killed about 40,000 people a year. We knew that. We knew how to stop it. We know what causes the deaths. We know how to stop it, and we do nothing. Now, again, I'm not saying you can't fly on a plane and go see your family, right? But think about this. If you just wore a mask on your flight, think about it, you would save tens of thousands of lives. Think about it. Americans are so fucking selfish that they don't want to wear a mask for like 2 hours, even though it would save tens of thousands of lives. Now, this is before the COVID-19 pandemic. Now we're in the COVID-19 pandemic, where we have a virus that is much more deadly and much more debilitating than the influenza virus. Now, oftentimes this can happen. The influenza virus can do somewhat medium to long-term damage to your body. If you get a really bad fever from the flu, if you that can do, you can have a long recovery period from not just the virus itself, but then some effects afterward. But we know that COVID-19 is a little different than influenza and how it does long-term damage to your body. We know for a fact that COVID-19 destroys the immune system, making it so that you will more likely get more other kinds of diseases, more other viruses more often. We know that COVID-19 destroys your brain. It causes brain damage, and almost everybody that gets COVID, they have some form of brain damage. And again, the recovery aspect, you can recover. You can have inflammation of the brain. It can do some damage. And then, a couple years later, you're back to normal, whatever. So that's a thing. But a lot of people, so far, again, we've been in this pandemic for 3 years. Should have been 3 months, but Americans decided let's squeeze this one out, kill off 1 million motherfuckers. Americans are selfish, lazy, fucking just awful people. I hate Americans. I hate them at the core of my being, right? And earlier, a couple of days ago, I postulated that no one actually likes Thanksgiving. Do people I don't know. I'm a white person. I'm from a white family. I don't like Thanksgiving. Why? Because there's people in my family that are just fucking lunatics. Now, again, I don't know if that's a white people thing. I'm not sure. A lot of people have told it to me that, that's more likely of a white people thing. I'm not sure. I know white people on average are more likely to be crazy. But I don't like Thanksgiving. I know whenever I've been to a Thanksgiving, a lot of people, I can tell they don't want to be there. You know what I mean? So does anyone actually like this? I don't know. I really don't. And also, on the second thing, do people actually like their family? Really? I don't know. To me, having a good relationship with a family member, it's or not just a family member, right? But just the whole family, being part of a family where everyone cares. I can't imagine that. That's cartoon. That's fucking I'm watching a fucking Leave It to Beaver or something, right? That's not real. That's fantasy to me. But I guess it maybe exists. I'm not sure. But either way, just think about it. Think about the average American's ability to make decisions, right? If the average American truly and properly understood the consequences of their actions, do you think they would still do things like this? If the average American knew that a flight map like this would kill tens of thousands of people, do you think they would still go on a plane? I do. I think Americans are selfish and they're fucking awful, terrible, psychopathic creatures. So that's what my opinion is on Americans. So I think they would do this. But also keep in mind, most Americans, they think the pandemic's over. Why? The Joe Biden administration lied. They went on mainstream news in a big interview. Joe Biden said the pandemic's over, and people believed them. Can you imagine that? People listened to the words of a politician and believed it. That's crazy. That's crazy, but they did, right? So we're at a position here. The CDC is doing mass layoffs. Vaccinations are slowing down, and the money to fund future vaccinations is slowing down. Pfizer is saying that they want to charge people $130 per dose. Meanwhile, CDC is no longer tracking COVID cases the same way they did before. They don't really count community level maps or whatever. They have these weird fake maps on the CDC website where they created this fake formula that shows that everything is fine with COVID, but it's not. We have a lot of states where ICU capacity is reaching, in the 80 to 90%. And this is, again, before Thanksgiving. Now, again, as we saw last winter, last holiday season, we saw that we reached a point where there were 1 million cases a day in this country. 1 million cases a day last year. So what did the CDC do over the course of the year? Well, they knew it would be bad business for for the United States of America if people knew that there were 1 million transmissions of COVID-19 every day. So what they did is they destroyed all the infrastructure so that we can't count the cases anymore. That's what they did. So now case numbers are not going to be as high as last year as the data is concerned. Now, again, fortunately for COVID-19, they don't care about math. They don't give a shit about what some dumbass politician said, should be the proper formula for counting these kinds of things. So COVID-19 is still going to spread. It's still probably going to affect 1 million people a day in some form, some capacity. Again, what's the difference between last winter and this winter? Less vaccination rates, significantly less. We're talking about significantly less. I believe the last number I saw as of like a week and a half ago for the bivalent booster shot was like 9% of Americans or so have gotten the bivalent booster shot. That's what I saw. If someone wants to update me, maybe it's increased a little I don't know. But it should be 90%. It should be 100%. We should have mandatory vaccinations. You should have a mandatory vaccination card present to get on an airplane, but we don't live in that world where science, logic, and facts make sense. And again, so we have less vaccination, a more deadly strain, a more infectious strain, less tracking, and less masking precautions. The CDC is specifically telling people to do everything in the world to prevent catching COVID-19 except for masking. If you go onto the CDC's Twitter page, they tweet out advice for COVID every single day. They tweet out advice for COVID. If you search their Twitter page for the term mask, you will not see any tweets that talk about masks since March of this year. Isn't that insane? The Centers for Disease Control is just covering up the most effective way of preventing transmission. They want you to get sick, they want you to die, and they want you to have brain fog and other neurological diseases for the rest of their lives, your lives, because then their buddies at Big Pharma and insurance companies can make a lot of money treating you. Think about it. A whole new disease. Think of the treatments. Think of the pills that can come out of here. Think of all the hospital visits that your insurance company can, make money off of. Think about it. Think about it. They don't care about you. And also, look at this map. You don't care about you. But why should people like me and other people that care about this pandemic have to suffer because you are a suicidal train wreck? Think about that. Think about disabled people. People that are immunocompromised, that if they catch COVID-19 has a very high likelihood of killing them. Think about that. Think about immunocompromised people that can't get the vaccine because of their disability, right? And so they're afraid to leave the house because of people like this. Think about that. They don't care about you. They don't care about you. Disabled people, not only does the average American not care about you, but they want you to go away. They want you to die off so they can stop thinking about you or people like you because that's stressful for them. Oh, why do we have to deal with these ramps? Why does every building have to have a ramp? Oh, God, I hate these. This is just, why do we have to wear a mask and wash our hands? Ugh. Right, that's the average American. So again, I don't know what y'all are doing today. I hope to God that people in my chat are being safe. And by that, I mean staying home. But, I'm sure some people in my audience are going to fuck around. And I hope that they don't find out. I hope the people in your family are not, below a 5 IQ. I hope. But I don't know. And maybe you won't tell me. Maybe you will. I'm not sure. But either way, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not eating any food today. I refuse. So, that's my statement on Thanksgiving. I don't believe in it. I think it's a stupid fucking holiday. I hate my fucking family for the most part. There's I can count with one hand the amount of people in my family that I care about even remotely, right? And so, come on now. So, but anyway, when people get COVID in my chat, I hope I told you so. But maybe when you get brain fog and neurological diseases, I can manipulate you into giving me money or something because you'll be dumber. That's the thing, is maybe I need a good portion of my audience to like lose a couple dozen IQ points, and then maybe I can cash in on that somehow. But anyway, there you go. That's the Thanksgiving. That's that segment out of the way. I felt like I had to. So